y'all. What is happening? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Happy Sunday. It is Sunday, October 8th, and you are tuned into Moment with Moesghetti. I am your hostesses with the mostesses, your spiritual and mental health guide, your sister, auntie, cousin, best friend who's always coming with the realness, Moesghetti herself. Hello. And welcome to the show. So today's show topic is going to be about parenting, about my experience with parenting and some of the lessons that I've learned along the way. So before we get into that, we're gonna go ahead and jump into our church announcements. I don't have a whole lot of church announcements this week. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. I'm gonna keep it 100. I am very tired, and I got a lot going on today, and I had a lot going on yesterday. So we gon' you know what? Let me stop acting like it's gonna be short because every time I come in here and say I'm tired or I don't feel well or whatever is going on, and it's going to be a short lesson, it always ends up being a whole freaking hour long about whatever it is I want to drone on and about. So it's gonna be as long as it's gonna be, and it's gonna do whatever it needs to do. But yeah. So just to get into the church announcements, I just want to first and foremost, I ended up performing at Muse 33 for Poetry After Dark. My date got moved from Friday to Saturday, which means I was there last night and I enjoyed myself very much. So I would just like to give a round of applause and some appreciation towards Keith King and Muse 33 and all of the fantastic poets who were on program with me and just the audience and the love and the support and the energy that they gave. It was a very different experience for me, something very different than I've done in the past. I've written things that are like cute and romantic, but I haven't kind of stepped into that energy and that atmosphere before as a performer. So it was a very it was a good time. I enjoyed myself and I'll probably do it some more. So we'll see about that. So I'll let y'all know as we go along the way. Other church announcements, what we have going, what we got coming up in the brotherhood. I've announced it before and I'll announce it again. Coming from the desk of the Central Church of Christ, we have the Midwest Lectureship coming on. It'll be taking place in Brookfield, Sheridan, out in Brookfield, Wisconsin, starting October 18th. So that will be next week, Wednesday. We are at the start of a new week. So next week, Wednesday, going through the weekend with our banquet honoring Dr. Stephen N. Thompson, my minister, that Friday night. And then at the Central Church of Christ on Saturday the 21st, we'll be having a musical. The United Chorus out of Chicago, Illinois will be coming up and joining the Central Gospel Choir for a good old time. We're going to have a great time. We're going to have Steve Thompson and some of the folks from Sheldon Heights come on up. So it's going to be a Milwaukee-Chicago collaboration. So if you've enjoyed yourself at any of our programs, either in Milwaukee or Chicago, Chicago, y'all are our cousins on the block. So get in your choir. Come on up, get your gas while you up in Milwaukee because it's a little cheaper. And we will see y'all on Saturday the 21st. Now that event is a free event at Central. If you can't make it to the lectureship because of funds, if you can't make it to the banquet because of funds, you can still have the opportunity to help us celebrate our minister on the 21st at the Central Church of Christ, 1830 West Monroe. I believe 5 p.m. is the time for that program. It's a free event. Just come on, come have a good time. If you want to bring something for a love offering, of course, that is always accepted. But, it's a musical. So we're going to have a good time. And then Sunday, we're going to have our regularly scheduled our regular ministers appreciation service at the church. So we're going to have guest ministers at the Central Church of Christ for morning worship. I believe Brother Atwater is coming from Waukegan, Illinois. I believe Chauncey Thompson, who grew up at Central, will be in town. He's currently in Decatur, Illinois. So again, some more Milwaukee, Illinois collaboration going on. So it'll be a good time. Of course, morning worship is free. We're going to have a fellowship meal afterwards, and just kind of really commemorate another year of service to our dear minister, Dr. Stephen N. Thompson. So I'm excited about that. If you ever participated in Central's anniversary programs, you know it's a good time. It's one of the highlights of our years. It's one of the things that I've always looked forward to. Not just well, yes, obviously to appreciate our minister, but for all of the love and the support and the people who have been a part of Central in the past, how they come through sometimes to show their appreciation for the time that was spent. So I'm gonna have pop into the comments. Hey ma, hey Moesghetti. She said she got caught up on Facebook. I started a couple of minutes late, so don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. You didn't miss anything other than the church announcements. As you can see, I'm still kind of rambling into the things that I've announced before. So ain't nothing new in the church announcements this week, other than I just excited about just all of the things that I've gotten a chance to do and all of the things that we're returning to that are coming up. Oh, I do have a new church announcement for you guys. Mark your calendars. Mark. I wish I could zoom. I need to zoom. Mark your calendars for oh shoot. December. Oh, I forgot the date and I don't have my phone. It's on my page anyways. A&PM is going to have a concert at the end of December. I believe it's December 29th, but don't quote me on that. The flyer somewhere. But anyways, get ready. Mark your calendars. Praise Motivated is having a concert. You want to be in the building? Look, we got new music. Look. Let me stop beating on the table before I break something or before Tone come in here and yell at me for being rambunctious in the studio. Mark your calendars. A&PM got a concert coming up. Save the date. I believe it is December 29th. Don't quote me on that. Go look at the flyer. I'll post it. I'll keep posting it. But mark your calendars. Get ready. Get ready. I'm ready. I'm excited. Man, look. I don't even know if I'm allowed to tell y'all what I'm excited about. Just know we gonna look good. We gonna sound good. We gonna feel good. And it's gonna be a Holy Ghost good time. All right. Amen. Amen. So I will come back with more details about that as time goes on. But for now, just look on my page, Moesghetti, and you will see the information about save date. Anthony McGahee, Praise Motivated. We got a concert coming up. And if you've ever been to any of our concerts, you already know. Look, get your tickets, or if it's ticketed, get there early so you get you a seat. Cause look, it's gonna fill up. All right. So let's get into the subject for the week. Today's title is, oh, you can actually see that a little bit. My little show note cards, they supposed to look exactly like that, but you can't really see it that good. Oh, you can a little bit. Dick, if I go like that, you can see it. Oh, you can see it real good if I go like that. Hey. Not like that. You can see it real good if I go like that. Anywho, let me get into the show for real. So today's title is called Mommy Lessons. Yes, Mommy Lessons. So today, October 8th, is my son's birthday. Oh, my baby boy is not a baby anymore. Today, October 8th, 2023, my kiddo, Mr. Jeremy, turns 19 years old. Yes, 19. This mug has a 19-year-old child. So I almost canceled today to go spend some time with him, but you know, we be spending time, and we're gonna spend the whole day together tomorrow because he's off of school and I'm off of work. So I'm here in the studio because you know I'm committed to y'all. I like to get lessons and stuff like that. And he already got me cooking him some food later on. So it is what it is. We're gonna spend some time tonight, and we're gonna spend some time tomorrow, and we've been in church together all day. So, but anywho, so in searching for a reason to, well, not a reason, in searching for a topic for today, I bounced around on a couple of different subjects, and I decided that I wanted to do just a rundown of some of the things that I have learned in these 19 years of parenting, that I have found to be beneficial. So, I want to share them with you because every once in a while, when people find out that I have a child as old as I do, especially with me being as young as I am, and combined with me being a therapist, and combined with me just, they see my kid, and he's a well mannered young man. He just really is. I'm very proud of him. I'm proud of him. Um, for a number of reasons. But the thing that I say that I'm most proud of is that he has just turned out to be a really good person. And that is one of the greatest things that I can ask for, is that he just be a good person, a person with a quality spirit, a person of good character, a upstanding guy. Like, he doesn't lie, he doesn't steal. Um, he's not me. And he's helpful, but he's not a pushover. He's willing and able to serve others in capacities where he is needed. I see that in the house. I see that around the church. I see that there are moments in which he doesn't want to do things, but he's able to step back and see the greater picture of what is required in the moment, and thus he acts appropriately, and like put some of those just immature, I don't want to do it feelings aside, and participates as part of the greater village. Like, he has that instinct in him. He has initiative. Initiative is a funny thing because when he was young, for whatever reason, the conversation came up of what the word initiative meant, and I gave him the word, and the definition of the word initiative basically being that you do things without having to be told. And it was something that he really gravitated towards that word, and he for a long time was just really proud of any opportunity that he could find to take the initiative and get things done. And that's just speaks to the character of him. I think that happened when he was like 8 or 9 years old. Like, he was a little guy. And he still carries those types of qualities with him. He does good for goodness sake. And I'm really proud of the person who he is, and I'm really excited about seeing the person that he's going to become. And I think I say that quite frequently. And with that being said, people see him, they see me, and they know my profession. And every once in a while I get questions about, what are some things that I would say about parenting, or what are some lessons that I would give about parenting. And I don't I don't know. I don't advertise myself as any sort of parenting expert. I just know what my life experiences have been. I know that I do have some expertise in human behavior and human interaction, so I'm not going to count myself short in that regard. And so when I roll those things together, these are some of the things that come to mind when I consider the lessons that I've had to learn over the years in my parenting. And these weren't always things that were in place in the beginning. Some of these things are still is stuff that has had to develop. Some of this is stuff that I'm still kind of working on. Um, but I have 5 different mommy lessons, parenting lessons. I call it mommy lessons because I'm a mom. But five points that I want to share with you guys today, about of things that I have learned along my parenting journey. So let's get into it. I don't have anybody in the studio to be goofy with me today, so y'all gonna get these buttons. All right, y'all gonna get these buttons. Hi, mom. All right. Lesson number one, um, or point one. If you're gonna be a parent, it will benefit you and your household to get some basic understanding. Mama, don't leave. She said she leave it because I want because I've been pressing the air horn button. Don't leave me. Don't leave me, mama, please. We talking about parenting lessons. How you gonna leave me out here by myself? See, look. She ain't going nowhere. All right. Let me start my sentence over because I know I got like almost to the important part of the sentence and then cut off. Um, if you want to be an effective parent, it will benefit you and your household greatly to just get a basic understanding of child development, like person development, human development. I'm not saying you have to take a whole psych class, but picking up like even an easier book or watching videos or just getting some sort of grasp or even understanding that there is a such thing as child development will go a long way in your parenting. And the reason why I say this is that I think I have seen on a number of occasions in which high level thinking is expected of children. And while as the adult, you might have what is called quote unquote common sense, or you might be able to problem solve, or you might be able to think ahead, there is a disconnect sometimes between the parent and a child when the parent has a perception that the child should be able to function in ways that they are literally not capable of yet. Now, I think we understand the concept of child development when we have babies and toddlers. We understand the fact that okay, well, when the baby is a when we have a newborn, they're not going to be able to get up and walk. They're not going to be potty trained. There are developmental milestones that they have to meet. You know, the doctor will be like, are they lifting their head? Are they rolling over? Are they crawling? You know, we get excited about them walking. All of that is child development. All of that is child development, and when they are in that phase, there is a greater understanding that one thing has to come after the other, and that there's just some things that they are simply not capable of because they haven't learned those things yet in life. But once the children get a little bit older and they're able to have conversations and they're able to talk, and it's like people start to gather up a perception that this is a fully developed human being, a fully developed brain that they are interacting with, where when this person is still meeting intellectual and cognitive milestones, there are things that their brains are not capable of understanding yet. There are impulses that children will have that they can't, they are incapable of having forethought about. And it is hard if you don't understand child development to understand that, because you'll look at your kid, you'd be like, well, you could plan to get yourself in trouble, you can't plan to make better decisions. No, they can't. Their brain literally can't. It can't. And so children end up being punished for things, being called like stupid, or why didn't you think about this, or why didn't you think about that, or what were you thinking, when the aunt and the kid will look at them like, oh, I wasn't thinking it, because the truth of the matter is that they weren't thinking, because developmentally what they were doing at that time made complete sense to them. And then even if it's not those types of things, you know, as your children are growing and they are maturing and they are starting to maybe like boys or like girls, or they're starting to want to develop a better sense of their own style, or they're starting to develop more sense of independence, or just growing into adulthood, sometimes those things are stifled by parents, or traumas are created because the parent is working against natural development. I understand, you got you a tween, you got you a preteen, you got you a teenager, and you don't want them out here, making babies when they ain't able to take care of them. So you may lock them, you can't talk to boys, you can't talk to girls. It's like, well, or you shouldn't be thinking about all that. You should be in your books. It's like, well, developmentally, these are the types of things that this person should be interested in. Or you might have a hard time understanding that your child, who once wanted to nothing more than to be up underneath you and with you at every moment of the day, now rather hang out with their friends, or do things that are outside of the home that have nothing to do with you. Or you might not understand why that child has moved from telling you everything about their lives to being very secretive about their lives. Well, some of these things are wrapped up in child development. And it's not that they are trying to be fast, or that they're trying to change, or that they're being negatively influenced by the people around them. Some of it really is that this person is starting to develop through life, and they're experiencing new things, and they're learning things that they've never seen before, and they're interacting with them in the first time. And if you have an understanding of child development, you have an understanding of person development, you can take it for what it is. My child is now exploring the world in a different way, and I might not like it, but look at yourself in the way that you grew up, in the way that you developed, in the way that you had to discover the world, and understand that things just change for you and they shift for you as you become a fully actualized person. And if you ever want to get your child from, a newborn and infancy and toddlerhood all the way up to adulthood, you have to respect the process, and you can't stifle it. By having an understanding of child development, having an understanding of personal development, you can guide them through it instead of shaming them through it. You can encourage them through it instead of discouraging them through it. You can offer insight and collaboration as they make their way through, instead of creating an atmosphere of shame or an atmosphere of mistrust, where they have to go through these developmental milestones by themselves without the guidance of somebody who has wisdom. Your child does not have wisdom. I don't care how smart your kid is. It's cool that they're smart. They might be ahead of their class, might be the smartest person, straight A's. Smart and wisdom are not the same. Wisdom is garnered through life experience. You can bestow wisdom upon your children by keeping an open line of communication with them, in which you can tell them about things. And as they interact with them, they have the knowledge to apply as they're growing in that wisdom. Whoa, this is a thing that people told me I would experience, and this is what they said about it. All right, it lines up. Let me use the wisdom that was given to me in the situation, so that I don't have to learn it the hard way. But you can only do that by respecting the development of the person that is in front of you. And you can only respect the development of the person that's in front of you by knowing that and acknowledging that child development, person development is a real thing. And they don't just jump from children to, well, they almost grown, so I'm gonna just let them do what they want to. Even your adult children are still developing through life, and could use wisdom and guidance and grace in the areas in which they do things that are not smart, because sometimes you just gotta learn by the fire. Let me go to the comments. Hey, Shani, thank you for dropping in. That's one of my soprano sisters from AMPM. Mom said, I tried to educate y'all about the things that couldn't happen. You can't get all the info from your peers because they don't know either. Yeah, that was one of the things that I told my son specifically when he was coming up. I was like, if you have questions about things, you are not allowed to ask your friends, and you are not allowed to consult the internet. Please come to me, because if you don't know the answer to something, what makes you think that your friend would know any more than you do when y'all are at the same level? And on top of that, I said, you don't always just run to the internet, because there is false information on the internet. There's a lot of contradictory information on the internet, and you may need somebody with a more critical eye to help you decipher. If we do got to go to the internet for the answer, you might need somebody with a more critical eye to help you decipher what is proper information and what is not, or even how to synthesize things that seem to be contradictory, how to pull it together if it don't seem to make sense. So that was one of the rules in my household. You got questions? Don't go to your friends. Don't go to the internet. Come to me. If we have to go to the internet, we can go to the internet together. And that has put me in some precarious situations with the questions that my son has asked me, but also has yielded opportunities for us to have some really great conversations and some really open conversations. With me understanding that some of the questions that he had for me were coming from where he was developmentally. And to not take offense to the fact that he had been exposed to a question or a concept, either before I thought he should or not. Because if it's a reality in his realm now, then it's a reality in his realm now. And it would benefit us more to connect on those areas than it would be for me to be upset that now that he's here developmentally or socially, whether it be on time or ahead of time. So get you some understanding about the basics of child development, about person development. It will make your parenting so much smoother. All right. For those who are dropping in to Moment with Moesghetti, today we are talking about mommy lessons. I'm celebrating the fact that I have a 19-year-old and a couple of things that I have learned about parenthood along the way. So let me take a drink of water and I'll get y'all on a point too. My throat be dry all this singing and talking all day, and I have been drinking punch and soda and all type of stuff, so I'm dehydrated. So excuse me. Hey. Okay, so another thing that mommy lesson number 2, and I had to be real about myself with this one. Your problems are not your child's problems. Your bad day is not your child's bad day. Your problems are not, look, dread and your problems are not your child's problems. Your bad day is not your child's bad day. It is absolutely unfair to the household for you to create an atmosphere of tension because you have an issue. It is unfair to all of the people that you live with for you to create a negative aura just because you had a bad day. It is unfair to come in the house being a tyrant, being a menace to your entire family, to your children particularly, because your workday was long and hard. Your problems are not your child's problems. Your bad day is not your child's bad day. And now this is something I had to check myself in about when my kid was young, because I noticed the pattern because it was just the two of us in the house. So you catch whatever is the runoff of my day. But I noticed that when I had a rough day at work, it was long, I was tired, or whatever the situation was that was going on with me, when I was stressed out, when I was not happy and centered, I had a lower tolerance for things that I had a lower tolerance for everything. And sometimes I would come in and immediately start yelling about things that, though they might not have been ideal, any other day I wouldn't yell at it or yell about it. For instance, I'd come in the door and be like, why your backpack by the door? Why your shoes by the door? Why you take this stuff to your room? Like just aggressive behind shoes and backpacks by the front door. Well, first of all, he kicked his shoes off by the door because it'd be dirt outside or snow outside, or you don't want to walk all through the house with a shoe. He's got bad habits. I'm not saying that this is the order of things that I desire in the house, but my bad day is not his bad day. My problems are not his problems. And so to come into the house and change the entire atmosphere because you had a bad day is absolutely unfair to the people that you live with. It's unfair to your children. And honestly, it creates a traumatic situation. It can create a traumatic atmosphere in your household because especially if your child gets home before you, there's an unpredictability of who they're going to meet when you walk through the door. And that does not create for a stable household. That does not yield kids to get up and run and give you a hug when you come home. Like, if they don't know if they're going to meet Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde when you get off of work based on who pissed you off at 2:30, It is not fair. And so for me, the solution in those time periods when I saw that my attitude wasn't what it needed to be, I would yield. I would go out of my way to make sure that my son was comfortable. Maybe not in my face. I might have to go to my room, close the door. And I would play it off real cute to be like, "Hey, sweetheart, you want to watch TV in the living room with the big TV?" He like, "Yeah." Like, "Yeah, you got a remote. You do what you want. I'm gonna go in the kitchen. I'm gonna make dinner. You stay in there. You watch. You play the video games. You done with your homework. You play the video games on the big TV tonight." Why? Because it would get him out of my space. It would give him something excited to engage in while giving me space to deal with myself and the fact that I am not okay. But me not being okay is not his problem. Me having a long bad day at work is not his issue. And so thus it shouldn't be taken out on the people that you live with. And yeah, mom, it instills fear and anxiety. It instills fear and anxiety to not know who and what and how you're going to deal with the person. And even in those days when I'm stressed out, when I create that opportunity for me to decompress and recalibrate now that I'm home, and him to be able to still have an atmosphere of joy in the home, we can still connect with one another. You have to be self-aware to be able to do that though. You have to know yourself. You have to, figure out what your cues and your triggers are to let you know that you're not having a good day. So that and correct yourself and apologize if you do come in the house doing the most. Because it's not fair to the people you live with. They sitting there doing homework and you here come a shoot at the head. Like, no. Of course, obviously there should be discipline. There should be structure. But if you find yourself going overboard and it's dependent upon how you were treated throughout the day, then it becomes unfair. And that's how you create kids who can't wait to get out of the house so they can be in charge of everything, so they can run and be the terrorist in their own home. So yeah, your problems are not your children's problems. Your bad day is not their bad day. And so thus they should not have to reap the consequences of the fact that you wouldn't tell your boss off when now you want to go tell them off. It doesn't have to be that way. Okay, I'm not telling you to stifle your own emotions, but I am telling you to regulate yourself because they didn't do it. Give that to the person who did it. Give that energy to the entity that gave it to you in the first place. And don't offload it on your kids because that's not fair. And then you drive a wedge between the two of you. Why are you talking to me like this? Why are you treating me this way? I haven't seen you since you dropped me off at school this morning. You told me you love me, gave me a kiss, and told me to have a good day. And the next time I see you, this is how you act. It also helps you set the expectation of how you should be treated. If you don't want your children's spouse, a partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, roommate, or anybody else in their life to treat them like that, then you don't set up a system. You don't set up the expectation that it's okay for them to be treated like that. Because that's how they learn. Kids learn through experience. And if you set up the expectation that it's okay for somebody to have a bad day and come and take it out on you, guess what they'll expect from the people in their world? How could they expect anything else? This is how the person who loved me the most treated me. And you also set up the expectation for them to act the same way. If I have a bad day, I can come home and just offload it on everybody in the house. I mean, if y'all cool with that, do what you want, but not I. Kind of going into a little connected to the last one. Be careful of self-sacrifice. You are leading by example. Be careful of self-sacrifice. You are leading by example. It is very easy to fall into, I'll sacrifice, I'll do any and everything for my kids. And my kids, I give them my last breath. It's beautiful. It's beautiful to love your kids to the end of you. It is not beautiful to completely lose yourself for the sake of these other people. Part of the reason is that you are setting up the expectation that it is okay to be 100% self sacrificial. And if you do not want for your children to do that for the sake of other people, lose themselves, give up themselves, then you shouldn't do it either. Now, I understand that there are different times and spaces of life in which you're going to have to give up more of yourself for your kids than other times. You got a newborn, yeah, you giving up all of you. You giving up all of you for this kid. You giving up all your sleep. You giving up everything because the need is great. But even in those circumstances, if you have a village around you that is able to help you, is able to assist you, even in those early days with that child, so that you are able to maintain sleep, so that you are able to eat, so that you are able to bathe, so you can able to keep yourself sane, you will show that child that regardless of what my responsibilities are, there's a certain level of self-care that is essential in order for me to continue to be a human being. But if you give up your sanity, you give up your self-care, you give up your hobbies, you give up your good habits, you give up everything. You already got to give up all your money. I already got to give up all your time. I already got to give up half your sanity. Be careful of what and how much you self-sacrifice because you are leading by example. If you give all of you, then when that kid grows up and goes off to college or goes out and leaves the house, there's nothing you left. You've tied your entire identity to this person. Oh, that is such a good example, Mom. And I don't know how I forgot. Well, I know how I forgot about it because I haven't done it in years. Mom says room time was life. Let me tell you about room time. I didn't get what she was doing till I got grown. No, I love it. Mom had this thing called room time when we were coming up. Room time was the hour before bedtime in which you had to be in your room. You can go in your room, you could do whatever you wanted to in your room. You could play games, you could watch TV, you could do whatever you wanted to. But the hour before bedtime was room time. And all the only rules to room time was you had to be in your room. And we had stuff. We had entertainment. We wasn't in trouble. It wasn't a punishment. It was honestly it worked it was multifaceted. Because what I learned when I instituted room time in my life for my son was number one, children do need a de-escalation from their day. They can't just go from jumping all over the place to bed and you expect them to just go to sleep without any sort of wind down. So it helps create routine. But also room time help create space. Space for sanity, space for the parent to Mom said it was sometimes earlier than that hour, whatever. It created space for and this is my experience as the parent. It created space for me to be able to just have time to myself without feeling like I had to put my kid all the way to bed in order to get it. Because sometimes by the time it's time for them to go to bed, you're too exhausted. And now you want to go to bed and you haven't actually had any time in that day for yourself because you get up, you get the kids ready for school, you get out to school, you go to work, you pick them up from school or whatever, you come home, you make dinner, you bath and da 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 da, and then next thing you know, it's time to do it all over again. Well, room time automatically instilled an opportunity for decompression, an opportunity to, maybe the adults wanted to watch something on TV that the kids ain't got no business watching. But it's 7 o'clock, so you're not gonna have. So it's not fair to put your 9-year-old to bed at 7 o'clock. But room time created an opportunity for decompression throughout the day, but it also created space in the world for the adult to just be an adult, for me to be me, for me to stare at the wall if I want to. It created an opportunity for you not to lose yourself, but also not feel like you are pushing your kids off or punishing them or relegating them just to a corner of the house. It allowed for recalibration, it allowed for space. It also allowed for the child to be able to, have some freedom. Just learn how to entertain yourself. Learn how to enjoy your own company. Maybe that's why I enjoy my own company, because room time was cool to me. I was like, so I just got to go in my room. I can watch TV. Just said we frequently fell asleep early too. Hey, it is what it is. So in my house, it would be like, it would be like bath time, then room time, and then we would do a bedtime story and then go to bed. Or like on the weekends, maybe if I would let my son stay up late, room time would be like, it would evolve into TV time, but you had to like be in the bed while you watch TV or whatever it was that you wanted to watch. But you could stay up and watch whatever you want to, but you just ain't gonna be bouncing all over the place because it's time to wind down. But that was just the little spaces in which we created opportunities for ourselves to still be ourselves without having to like parent every moment of the day, but knowing that our child was in a safe space, knowing that our child wasn't just running through the house, knowing that they wasn't finna come and bother us every 3 seconds. It's room time. Room time wasn't a punishment. It was a privilege. Yeah, I got stuff. I could just be in here and I could just be me. It allowed everybody the opportunity to just be themselves. Because it was playtime. All it was designated playtime. We'd come out the room if we needed something. We usually got what we needed, because before it was usually it was less than a pull to leave your room than when it's punishment time. Because when you're on punishment, you try to get out your room by any means necessary. But room time, wasn't nobody trying to get out of room time. You just chilling. So yes, be careful of self-sacrifice. You are leading by example. Create spaces in your day, in your week, in your time. If you are in a relationship with somebody, make sure y'all still having date nights. Make sure that you allow your partner or yourself to go out. Like, people judge parents who be like, you a mom and you want to go clubbing? Yes, I want to dance. A year and a half ago, when I wasn't nobody's mama, I was going out dancing. And I want to do it now. I liked it. I want to get cute. I want to go watch an R-rated movie. I want to do something that kids are not allowed to. I want to go to walk. I want to stare at the sky. Like, whatever it is, be mindful that you are not sacrificing the entirety of yourself for the sake of your children. Keep a piece of you. Pour into them as much as they need, but keep a piece of you, because it will allow you to continue your stamina along the way of being able to pour. All right. Next lesson. What's up, Tom? When you're parenting and when you're punishing, be mindful that you are parenting your personality. You are parenting your person. You probably parenting the other parent's personality as well, but you're parenting your personality. And I say keep this in mind, because sometimes we just want to repeat the things that were done to us. And sometimes those things are good. Like, mom and I just got done talking about room time. Room time was great to me, and so I implemented it, and it worked out fine as a parenting tactic, from both being the child in that situation and being the parent in that situation. My mama said you rude. She said you just busted in from the backdrop. How rude. I heard him come in though before he came through, so it's all right. We reorganized the room, so it was, we still working out the kinks. Well, he reorganized the room, and we still working out the kinks, but it's cool. But yes, be mindful that you're parenting your personality. So some of the things that worked well might still work well. But a lot of the times people just replicate things that were done in their childhood because it was done to them. Well, this is how my parents raised me and I'm all right. Are you all right? Because you said that rather aggressively. And are you all right? Because you're defending something that is absurd rather aggressively. When I say that you're parenting your personality, sometimes it takes a moment for you to reflect upon what happened in that moment and what you may have needed in those types of moments. And when you see your child exhibiting parts of your own personality, it'll be beneficial for you to reflect upon what did you need in that moment, what would have been beneficial versus what was done. If you know some stuff that was beneficial, if you experience positive parenting in the moments, let's say you wanted to be heard and your parents listened to you and that was effective for you, that's beautiful to replicate your parenting, your personality. But let's say that there were times where you all you wanted to do was to defend yourself, all you wanted to do was speak up on something, you felt like you were constantly shut down. Well, replicating that to your child is going to give them the same feeling that you felt when you see them being you. And so perhaps we break the mold, we change, and offer them something that wasn't offered to us. When you see yourself in your children, remember who you were and how you were and give that to them. That is one of the most beautiful expressions of healing your inner child that you can do, is heal the actual child that you are attending to so they don't get broken in the first place. Your inner child can be healed by giving your actual child what your inner child always needed. Also, if you knew you was rambunctious, stop yelling at that kid for being rambunctious. Give him somewhere to play. If you knew you only like to color, then quit asking that kid why they won't go outside to play. Give them some crayons. Use the insight that you have from the inside of that head as a cheat sheet to effective parenting, and stop listening to everybody else about what they think that your kid needs when you're seeing yourself in them. They're not you, but you know when you looking at you. You know when you're looking at yourself. So use the insight that you naturally have in that space. All right. And the last mommy lesson for the day, because I told y'all every time I say I'm not going to be here long, I'm here long, is your kids think you're super even when you don't think you're super. So you ain't got to be super to still be super. My mom said, your pops would say, my dad did this and that, so I do it. I asked him, did you like it? And sometimes we have to do things that we ain't like, but now we see as an adult why it was necessary. But sometimes we can reroute from the things that we didn't like because we can find something that is more effective. But anywho, back to what I just said. Your kids think you're super, even when you don't feel super. So stop trying so hard to be super and just do the best that you can. We'll run ourselves completely ragged trying to be super mom, super dad for stuff that kids, from some things that the kids never even asked for. Or just from the amount of sheer love that you can give in the situation, or doing the best that you can will be efficient enough. Going above and beyond is beautiful when you have the resources for it, the time resources, the financial resources, the energetic resources. It's beautiful when you have the resources for it. But some of us run ourselves, we deplete ourselves trying to please children that would be happy. We'll be happy with you being happy, because what does it benefit me to have a great birthday party if my mama's sitting here finna fall asleep and she catching attitude and snapping on everybody? She ain't slept in 4 days trying to decorate. What? Or trying to pay for it. What? We ain't got the lights on next week because she done spent the money on a bounce house. What? We could have had a tub of ice cream and some barrel juices and some hot dogs. Turned the Bluetooth speaker on and invited my cousins over. Like, that would have been super. That would have been good all by itself. Mom said y'all spent all this money on Christmas and y'all just play with the boxes. Because kids will do that to you. You will go above and beyond and all the way out of your way, and all they wanted was something basic. Give to your kids, absolutely. I mean, that also ties back into the be mindful of your self-sacrifice, because we'll sacrifice so much of ourselves to make things happen for these kids when they could have been just the same level of happy, and you could have got a couple more hours of sleep. Kids recognize your efforts. Kids recognize your love. Kids feel your energy. Kids feel your intention if they're grateful. But running yourself ragged too often without instilling also gratitude in your children, but we can breed entitlement and unhealthy expectations. Again, we don't want to teach our children that anybody can treat them any kind of way, but we also don't want to raise them to think that everybody in the world should drop everything for them at every moment and create entitled people. We want balanced children, children who expect goodness, children who expect fair treatment, but not those who expect it at the expense of people killing themselves in order to fulfill their needs. That's not fair to the world. Not ungrateful children who don't reciprocate any sort of energy or don't pour into the village themselves in any capacity. We want balanced children who know what love is, coming and going, who appreciate, who see the efforts, but also know limitations. Because we are human beings, we are limited. Every once in a while, you got to go sleep. Every once in a while, you got to take a break. And that's okay. Because your kids see you, they feel the love. They'll get what they need. And sometimes it's your ego, anyways, that is making you go that level of above and beyond. So, anywho, the 5 lessons of mommy lessons today was understand the basics of child development. Know that your problems are not your kids' problems. Your bad day is not their bad day. 3 was be careful with self-sacrifice. You are leading by example. 4 was parent your personality. Number 5 was they think that you're super, even when you don't think that you're super. I think that's all I got to say on that. So let me go ahead and pray and we can get ready to go. All right. Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you for this day. I thank you for love. I thank you for life. I thank you for my mom. I thank you for my child. I thank you for all of the lives that I'm able to touch, that we're able to touch, for the good, the bads, the ups, the downs, the uglies, and the beautiful lessons that have come out of it all. I have gratitude and I thank you, and I ask that you continue to cover my family and every family that is touched by this, by my words, by this podcast, by my presence, by my parenting, by my mother, and by my child. Thank God and amen. All right, y'all. I really appreciate your time, spending time with me, Moesghetti. If you want to give me any financial appreciation for the time that's spent here today, you can hit my Cash App, # Moesghetti. If you want to give my son a birthday gift, you can hit his Cash App, Chunko's Art. It's posted on my profile. But with that being said, I really appreciate you. I really appreciate this time that we have together. Thank you for spending a moment with me. I will see you next week. Go ahead, take me out, Tom.